Our devotional today for March 17th, happy St. Patrick's Day. The key text is from 2 Corinthians chapter 5 in the New Testament, verses 6 through 10, with a focus on verse 9. And the devotional comes again from My Utmost for His Highest by Oswald Chambers. You can find the same devotional at utmost.org. The text. Therefore, we are always confident and know that as long as we are at home in the body, we are away from the Lord, for we live by faith, not by sight. We are confident, I say, and would prefer to be away from the body and at home with the Lord. Verse 9. So we make it our goal to please Him, whether we are at home in the body or away from it. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. The devotional, titled The Servant's Primary Goal. We make it our aim, from verse 9. It requires a conscious decision and effort to keep our primary goal constantly in front of us. It means holding ourselves to the highest priority year in and year out, not making our first priority to win souls, or to establish churches, or to have revivals, but seeking only to be well-pleasing to Him. It is not a lack of spiritual experience that leads to failure, but a lack of working to keep our eyes focused and on the right goal. At least once a week, examine yourself before God to see if your life is measuring up to the standard He has for you. Paul was like a musician who gives no thought to audience approval, if he can only catch a look of approval from his conductor. Any goal we have that diverts us even to the slightest degree from the central goal of being approved to God, 2 Timothy 2, verse 15, may result in our rejection from further service for Him. When you discern where the goal leads, you will understand why it is so necessary to keep looking unto Jesus. Hebrews 12, verse 2. Paul spoke to the importance of controlling his own body so that it would not take him in the wrong direction. He said, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest I myself should become disqualified. From 1 Corinthians 9:27. I must learn to relate everything to the primary goal, maintaining it without interruption. My worth to God publicly is measured by what I really am in my private life. Is my primary goal in life to please Him and to be acceptable to Him, or is it something less, no matter how lofty it may sound? And I find this a particularly timely devotion for me, and hopefully for you as well. It fits in nicely with what we just talked about yesterday, where we talked about not judging others, but just recognizing that we ourselves will be judged. And here it talks about our focus and our primary goal, that our primary goal is to be approved by Christ. And if you think about the disruption in your daily rhythms, the disruption in your daily activities right now, and remember that those who focus on a goal and do not swerve from it will suddenly arrive at the results, but it wasn't necessarily because they measured their results along the way. And sometimes we can get caught up in our desire to have approval along the way, and especially when we're serving the Lord, we're looking for results. And in this devotional, it even says it's not to make our first priority to win souls or to establish churches or to have revivals, but only being well-pleasing to Him. And our current circumstances have us wondering what we should do. And there are a lot of people who have a particular way of viewing what God would have us to do. And all of that is well and good, but we must remember that it is still primarily about what our goal is, and our goal is to be well-pleasing. So that's where we do the daily things that help us to become more in line with God's will for our lives. To be honest, that's one of the reasons that I've begun doing this, because it becomes a touch point, a daily rhythm for me, and a way to be held accountable, and a way to grow, not only in staying in the Word, but also in my faith. And I've seen a lot of people in the last few days, and myself included, wondering what's next, and we don't know that. So we have to remember that our goal is to be well-pleasing to Christ, and that is our primary goal. We are a servant of Christ and not to anyone else. And so if we continue to stay focused on that, we will one day find ourselves to be well-pleasing and and receiving approval for the life that we've lived.